Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics on Right. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We're going to have a great show for you today. But before we ever get started, you know what is the first thing? What is the first thing that I have to state? America, we dodged a bullet. Ahmaud Avery, those who murdered, those who assassinated, those who killed, those who lynched, virtually lynched Ahmaud Arbery, they were justifiably put or convicted, but not only convicted, but on just about every count that came up, they were convicted on. Folks, for a change, we finally seen some modicum of justice in America. I mean, and before I get to your messages, I'm going to come to your messages right away, but I want to articulate a few things here. And I want to ask my audience a few questions. Here was a guy running through a neighborhood, whether he's a thief or not, he's not, but I'm saying, here's somebody running through a neighborhood. Who gives anyone the right to execute authority over that person to say, stop, I want to interrogate you? Please. The gall of some people to believe that they are entitled, that they have been given authority over other's humanity. How the hell was that even thought of? How did they not think about, hey, we can't do that. Hey, that's really criminal. Hey, that's not something we can do. How is it? This should not even be something we had to think about. But instead, we got a complete case. It was ridiculous. But anyhow, let me get busy with you guys because you've already started talking a whole lot. So anyhow, let's get busy. Welcome aboard the first person out, Breach MCP. Hey all, she says. Sarah Beige. Hello, she says. Breach MCP says, hey FB Posse. Welcome. Posse. Welcome. Posse. Breach MCP also said, hello, Deborah Burgeon. I haven't seen you in a while, my dear beautiful lady. Watching live today. So you only watch it on the, you know what I tell people is so many people watch this stuff on the podcast. So I make sure to have it podcasted all over. But thank you for being here live today. Michael Rudnin and his narrative, his essays, his polls. All right, let's go, Michael. You know I'm going to do it. I choked on my you know what. Anyhow. Let's see. Michael said, I have a cable guy coming up to upgrade my internet to the gigabit package. Sometime soon we'll go offline as soon as he comes. Well, that means you're going to be able to watch Politics Done Right a little bit better, my friend. That means you're going to get to do it at full speed. Egberto, mind putting this on the screen? Look, I don't mind putting it on the screen as long as voters support capping insulin costs at $35 per month. I would love to put that on the screen because we know that is exactly what voters want. Right there it is on the screen, people. Courtesy of Michael Rudnin. What he's trying to tell us here is that we want true policy. Build Back Better is what we really, really want. It is what Joe Manchin and Sinema and all Republicans are trying to deny America. Even their own constituents, that based on the poll that Michael Rudnin just put out there, tells you what they want. $35 insulin. And you know what? Insulin only costs what? $6 to make. $6 to make insulin, folks. That's what we're talking about. Anyhow, let's continue getting back to where we were before. I'm seeing some little breaks here and there in the stream, but I don't think that's on my side. We'll see. Anyhow, let's get busy. What else do we have here? Let's see. Egberto, mind putting this on the screen? Well, I did. New poll. An overwhelming majority of voters support capping insulin costs at $35 a month. A proposal included in the Build Back Better Act that includes independence by 76 plus margin. Republicans by a 71-point margin and Democrats by a 90-point margin. House Democrats just passed a cap on the price of insulin at $35 a month. I want to tell you something, Lee, and we're going to talk about that when we hit the last story today. You came out and you put that out. You came out and you put the poll. That poll should be all over the place. That poll should be all over. But New York Times is not busy about talking about what Americans want. They're busy talking about an inflation rate that isn't what they're talking about. An inflation rate that is misrepresented. We're going to talk about that with the Daily Kos article a little bit later. All right, second article from Michael says, jury finds all 3 men guilty of murder in Ahmaud Arbery's death. I have to say that if not for the video evidence, this would have never been even gone to trial. Also, federal hate crimes charges are forthcoming, and I want them to get on that federal hate crime as well. But here's the deal. Remember how many people, there's a person who had to get laid off because of what she did for the case. She wasn't going to bring it. Imagine that. Imagine that. But anyhow, we'll continue. Michael Rudden also says, in first, U.S. added to the annual list of backsliding democracies. A report by International Institute of, I saw that yesterday, for Democracy and Electoral Assistance says, visible deterioration began in 2019. The report also cited growing polarization in the U.S. as well as state voting laws disproportionately affecting minorities in a negative way when one party and their followers aim to curtail voting rights through gerrymandering, systemic voter suppression, and believes in conspiracy risk nonsense that elections have been stolen when they are demonstrably secure. We have a real problem. Yes, we have a problem. Lastly, from Michael, well, actually, he got interspaced. The alarming message behind the GOP's embrace of Kyle Rittenhouse. The scariest part about the Rittenhouse affair began after the verdict. I swear Republicans will do anything to troll their opposition, even if it means demonstrating how badly broken their moral compass is. Don't worry about that. Let's keep this all. Yeah, Mary, I think I'm having some sync issues that I simply don't understand, and this has been going on for 3 days. I haven't been able to do a lot of research on it, but I will. Let's see. The biggest problem facing the U.S. electrical grid isn't demand, it's climate change. We're going to fix our crumbling infrastructure, or we're going to have many more incidents like the Texas blackout. Let me be clear. There is, yes, we have climate change, but in Texas, we have a deteriorating grid. That is a problem, Rudnan. So it's, you know, one doesn't preclude the other. Hello, May Wood from Long Beach, California. How's everybody? We're all fine. And E2247, of course, comes to us and he says, hello, relatives. Yeah, we're all relatives here, man. We're all relatives here. International Institute of Democracy and Electoral Assistance newest report, the Global State of Democracy Building Alliance. That's part of what Rudnan was talking about. Parij MCP says E2247. Hi, I'm here as well. Who else we've got in the house? Let's see. We have Lee Grant. Hello, Egberto and Chatters. Lee, you claimed that we were going to lose it in Wisconsin. You were right. I don't think you had a decision for Georgia, for Ahmaud Arbery, but it's a good thing I'm pretty sure. I want to know your thoughts on Arbery, Lee Grant. I hadn't gotten you to make a comment on Arbery, so let me hear your thoughts on that, one of my favorite conservatives. E2247 says, United States as a democracy is backsliding. Yes, we just spoke about that. Okay, King One-Eyed Man. Hey, you're new. King One-Eyed Man, I love your title. Let's see, you says Antifa activist murders 6 people with weapons designed to kill. Where did that happen? Are you talking about Wisconsin? A car designed to kill? Anything can be a weapon, and that guy who killed all those people in Wisconsin, he's a murdering assassin like I call any other murderer. But you don't see anybody on the left saying, oh, let's protect that guy who murdered all those people in Wisconsin with a car. You don't see any of us doing that. Those of us on the left are not saying, black guy kills a whole bunch of people and we are going to support it. We don't see that. But that's what you're doing with Rittenhouse. You're saying, Rittenhouse got off. Yay, he can come and work for us. You see the difference? We are moral. Those who support Rittenhouse are immoral. Those who support Rittenhouse are evil. Those who support Rittenhouse do not understand or are not humane, do not understand humanity. Okay? It's that simple. We don't even need to discuss that any further. Michael Rudnan says, cable guy arrived. Michael, we're going to miss you. But Michael, you better get back if that cable guy gets it up quickly, which he probably will. So I'll be expecting you, Michael, in about 15 minutes. Eric Hayes says, no, Lee Grant says, I accept the court's decision on Kyle and Ahmad. It's important to respect the rule of law. You know, let me just say something, Lee Grant. And I'm going to say this humbly. I'm going to say this with respect. And I'm going to say this respecting you as a person that I do respect, but who find you somewhat ignorant on that statement, my brother. I accept the court's decision on Kyle and Ahmad. It's important to respect the rule of law. How many times have cops who you know yourself have murdered, killed, maimed people of color that a jury just lets off, and you say you respect the rule of law? The rule of law in the South allowed many, not only in the South, hell, in the North too, allowed many a lynching to go uncontested. When you have the privilege, now you remember what you talked about, the way some of us talk, right? When you have the privilege that courts usually treat you in an unbiased fashion, you can make a statement like that, and it is a valid statement. For people who look like myself, for people who look like Peggy Lopez, for people who look like others here in our family of PDR Posse, we don't share that reality. We can't say we can look at a jury and expect it to be impartial. I am one person. I'm a professional. I'm an engineer, business owner, now a radio host, and all those great things that one would think makes me a responsible citizen. Never got involved with the law ever. Have a couple of speeding tickets, but never got involved with the law. And anytime I see a cop behind me, my heart is in my throat. I try my best never to come close to the criminal justice system because I know what it stands for. So please, my dear brother Grant, from your eyes, that statement is true. From my eyes, that statement is ignorant. Because I know we have a criminal justice system that ain't fair. Eric Hayes, we aren't even at pre-pandemic levels of self-production. Why not Biden policy decisions? Oh my God. You're absolutely wrong, but I'm not going to go into that because numbers mean nothing to you, my brother Eric, so I'm not going to talk about that. Let's see. Maywood says you have sync issues. Yeah, I think it comes and goes. We're going to see. There's some driver in here that hangs every so often, and I need to figure out which one it is. Let's see. Eric Hayes says, guess nothing to see here. Biden's making money from... there you go with Biden's son. Peggy Lopez says that stream, but absolutely the jury is the decider in this case. All of our pontification about the cases only increases the division and problems in our society. Yes. But I hope, Peggy, you heard my previous statement. And not only that, I would like you to agree with the previous statement because a lot of folks need to know that we understand that while you can have a jury that is supposed to be... oh, Bridge, you said I skipped you? How dare I skip you, Bridge? What did you state? Let me see. I've got to find Bridge. I didn't know you actually sent a message. Let's see what you said, Bridge. I tell you, I'll put it back in the feed because it's hard to go through the feed all the time, Bridge, but I'm looking through right now. Okay, Bridge, I don't think I skipped you, Bridge. I went through all of the things and I don't see a message from you, Bridge. Put it back again in the feed and I'll be sure to put it out there. All right, let's see what else I got here before I keep on moving on. Let's see, before I keep on moving on. Egbert, the last one I said was Egberto, you skipped me. Go ahead and throw another message in there. I don't know if it got truncated or what, Breach. Maybe you want to put it in Facebook if it doesn't show up in YouTube. I would say do things lawfully. How about the guy that ran over people on purpose, let out on bond by liberal judges? Actually, you don't know if he was let out on bond by liberal judges. You have no knowledge of that case because it's not out there yet. Daniel Ledo says, Maywood, I accept and approve of both verdicts. Justice is making a comeback in America. Ledo, actually, that's an improvement from you. I'm surprised that you actually support that those 3 murdering assassins were convicted. So I am happy that you did. So you got a little brownie point from me today. Eric Hayes, I thought that they must convict that guy from Charlottesville. Well, it was a civil trial in Charlottesville. So they didn't convict. What they did is they gave a whole lot. Except for the guy who ran the car. Yes, they convicted him. All right, let's see what else we got here. Daniel Little said, I invited Rittenhouse to Thanksgiving dinner. He said thanks, but he was busy. See, there you go. You did a good thing and you just messed it up by saying you invited an assassin to have dinner with you. Wow. Norman Reynolds, welcome aboard, my brother. How you doing? Peggy Lopez says, the way to change the courts is only through getting the elected officials to write laws to make the law and court more just and equitable. I think everybody has to agree with that. Yule Anderson, Predictive Justice. Welcome, Yule. I don't think I've seen your name in our feed before. Welcome to Politics Done Right. Thank you so kindly for being here. Maywood says, say what? What does the pandemic have to do? Okay, you handle Erica, Maywood. Okay, we'll take it from there. Lee Grant says, just because we have many examples of injustice does not mean justice can't be attained. Actually, that's a very true statement. But when the preponderance of injustice is on one side, let's realize that we have to do more. Let's not just say, okay, that was just a case out of scope, because generally it isn't. I wish, Peggy Lopez says, I wish I knew of a way to remove the racism from the jury pool. There was a time when there was an organization working on helping folks get beyond their racist belief systems. You know, I was going to give a whole speech about racism today before the show, before the verdict came out. And then I decided to do that article on from Daily Kos. But I think, you know what, it's 422. Since you guys talking about race, why the hell not? Listen, here's the deal. Like I say every show when I talk race, I don't believe in race, okay? Race is a stupid thing. And the way I always tell people how stupid race is from a biological standpoint is to remind, let me see, my white brother, Lee Grant, my good white brother, Lee Grant. All right. Lee Grant, let's assume that you have a good old blue-eyed blonde sister. We're going to talk about your blue-eyed blonde sister, brother Grant. There is a possibility that if I drop dead tomorrow and you also drop dead tomorrow, and at the same time your blue-eyed blonde sister turned out she got some sort of an infection in her heart, and they cleaned up that infection in her heart just before you and I died, and now she's capable of getting a heart. There's a possibility that your heart won't work with her and my heart will work. That's an example I always give people, right? That stuff that we see happen all of the times. So when we talk about race and that kind of stuff, it's a stupid thing. But it's an ingenious thing, a very ingenious thing. Because if I am running a country, if I am running a society, if I'm running the Western society, I have to create models. If I want to make sure that stuff is not distributed equitably, I have to create a model that allows me, as a small number of people, the plutocracy is very small, I have got to create a manner in which I can control. You know, there wasn't whiteness in the 1200s and 1300s. People fought and they had wars and all those things. But it wasn't, yeah, people look different than others. You know, Scandinavians look different than Italians, look different than people from the North Africa, than South Africa, etc. All of, you know, the differences were understood. You know, they were all humans, right? But if I created a society where I needed to have control, I had to create something that allowed everybody else to have the gradation of value in society so that I can be looked at with some maximal value. Why? Because if you notice right now, okay, let's just go to royalty. People like to love on the queen. Oh, the queen, and they curtsy to the queen and they give the queen high respect. The Queen of England, I'm just using that as one example. Of course, there's a Queen of Sweden, there's a Queen of, it used to be the Queen of France, all these things. All these people got kudos, right? What the hell for? What did they do to deserve being royalty? What makes them different from you? They bleed like you, they poop like you, they do everything that you do. Hell, they smell like you. So why is it that we give some people preferences over? You see, what I teach people all the time, have reverence to nobody. Don't revere the president. Don't revere the queen. Don't revere all these people that supposedly of high stature. Don't. Because they're absolutely no different than you are. In fact, let's go a bit further. The Queen of England, as powerful as she is because we have determined that she is the queen, is a weakling. She has no value to society. None. She produces nothing. She knows how to program a computer? No. She knows how to heal somebody? No. She knows how to make people better? No. But still, we have engineers in England, we have lawyers in England, we have doctors in England who can do things that materially help them. Can she? No. But we revere her for being the queen. That is how indoctrinated we are with that sort of whiteness, power, and all these other issues. Eric says I'm bagging the queen. Yes, I am. Justifiably so. Can she do anything? Tell me what can she do to make your life better, Eric? But they revere her. Come on now. Tell me. So, it is important then, when I talk about race, whiteness, etc., what it really means. Think about this. I want to create a society. I want to ensure that I can get more than anybody else because, hey, if I can get more than everybody, I'm greedy. You know, capitalists by general, I'm not talking about the people who just say, oh, I'm a capitalist, I like capitalism, because most people who say that, they don't know capitalism. They've been indoctrinated into liking capitalism, right? What they don't know is that capitalism only values capital, right? Only values capital and those who own it. So how do you create that concept? Capitalism didn't start with this new capitalism we have now. We got slavery, right? We create slavery. We create a group of people that are going to be less than, right? They're owned, they don't get paid. And how do we separate them from the others? The easy way for separation is by how you look. So if you have a class of people that have a certain hue, hey, that delineation would be easy. Henceforth, those people are the ones we define as as slaves. And then we have the people that peck on top of them, right? And how do we delineate them? Oh, we call them white. The level of whiteness. But within the level of whiteness, we then get gradations. So we've already established that one human can be over another human, in value. right? In value. One human can be over another human in value. We also established that these are of the lowest value. So if you know as a general purpose white person that you can always make the statement, at least I'm not black, because I could be that. It has a tendency to keep you in check. And that's what the plutocracy does. The plutocracy keeps gradation of hue in order to maintain a financial society that's written on top of it. If you doubt it, why is it that no matter what slave or person with my hue did, it was impossible for them to get the capital in capitalism to move their ideas forward? Cotton gin, all these other things that people made money on, the people who truly invented it never did. So I think it is important for us to going forward to really sit back and understand how we're being used. Now let's talk about Daniel Ledo and all those who are carrying the water for the right and for this great big capitalism as we know it in America. Most of them are simply I call them slaves, right? I call you slaves, but I always call all of us slaves who work, who have to work within the plutocratic system. But the ones that are there carrying the water at no cost or at their cost are the ones that are most, and how should I put this, are the ones that are most contrived, most believing in the system. Lee Grant says, Egberto, we're all the same animals, but different races, ethnicities are evident in different allele frequencies. Obviously, physical differences among other objective measures. Of course, but let's look at, Lee Grant, that's not at all, that is not at all in conflict with what I'm saying. But the permutations between what we call a race, as an example, the permutation between the white race and genes, compared to the permutation between, let's say, what we'll call the Asian race and genes, and the interrelated permutation of said genes, you will find that there is no characteristic within them that makes it preordinate over the other. In simple terms, that is why a black person's or Indian person's heart could go into a white person, which another white person's heart couldn't go into the other. Again, the things that I talk about are not only based in mathematical facts and scientific facts, but also in things that I can tell you, this is what's happening, because you can see it on your own, right? You can actually see this on your own. All right, let's see. Daniel says, listen to Egberto, place value on others. He decides your worth. Oh, wow. No, I don't decide anybody's worth. Because you know what, Daniel? As imperfect as I am, as imperfect as you are, I don't think I have any more worth than you do. And I can guarantee you, you don't have more worth than I do. And every single person in this room, as far as I am concerned, has the same worth. And that is what I'm trying to preach to people. Because if we all accept and believe that we all have the same worth, then we will all act it out. And we won't allow them to screw us with the indoctrinative types of policies. But we have to first believe it. That's why I hit on the Queen. That's why I hit on presidents. That's why I hit on the stars, the Beyoncés, the Oprahs that everybody wants to give big kudos to. Oprah has worth $4 billion, right? Or more maybe by now. But Oprah doesn't know how to create the projector behind her. Oprah doesn't know how the signaling that carries her messages over the airwaves function. Oprah doesn't know how to turn those books that she writes into paper that's mass produced to get to the rest of the world. Oprah doesn't know how to do any of those things. Oprah knows how to talk. I know how to talk. But guess what? Before I used to talk, I wrote applications used by Bowen and all these other things. So I'm saying, yeah, I'm talking now, and somebody says, oh, you're just talking. Yeah, that's true too. But There is value to science. There's value to a whole lot of other things. And my context here is to say that I don't have a problem with paying a hell of a lot of taxes to support us all. But the billionaires do. You don't see Oprah out there saying, I want to have a wealth tax so that more than 50% of my wealth goes back into the system. You don't see that, do you? That's what I'm talking about. Eso es de lo que estoy hablando. Eric Hayes says, Gilberto, do you know anything about the Queen and what she did during World War II? She didn't invent a gun that solved the World War. Yes, actually, let me answer your question first. She said, Egberto, do you know anything about the Queen and what she did during World War II? Some would say she had worked then, and you bring out 1200 and around, etc. If you bring up history, I would say the Queen had worth then. Do you know what she did? Yes, I do. Everybody had to protect her. Some people had to get killed to ensure she didn't get killed. Come on now. Don't be so gullible. The Queen did not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. A lot of people died on the front lines to protect the Queen's land. So don't you dare tell me about what the Queen did for people. The Queen didn't do a damn thing for people. At all. And that is the indoctrination we need to get ourselves away from. Thinking that these people that say they do actually do. There were a lot of people dying. It's just like Trump saying, oh, I made the military do this. I'm sorry. Somebody like Colin Powell was in the field in Vietnam. He can come out and say, I did my time in Vietnam and now I command this army and I understand what being on the breath of death is about. Colin Powell fought a war. So please don't talk to me about what the Queen did. Not a damn thing. Okay? And sending me a biography of the Queen of things that I know is not going to be helpful, so it's not going to be read. Egberto is displaying some very myopic thinking. Please explain to me why is my thinking myopic and it's not yours that's actually myopic, my brother. Please tell me. I want to know. And if you convince me, I'll tell you you're right. Okay? I'll tell you you're right if you convince me that my thinking is myopic. Okay, so that is pretty much where I wanted to go. My thing is, I am very interested because I think one of the big problem. Okay, Daniel Ado says Paul Fleming. No, he placed value on the Queen based on his determination of what. Whoops, that scrolled down. Determination of what he values. No, I think all of us value life, and I put that on the value of life. Lee Grant says socialist and communist societies are generally antithetical to monarchy and religious institutions. Why shouldn't they be? Why is the monarchy better than socialism? Socialism by definition says democracy, right? In other words, we all decide what we want to do. Monarchy says, I am inherently lord of this land. I own this land. It's like the people who came to America. Actually, let's not even talk about America since that would be a sore spot to many. You know, when Vasco Núñez de Balboa came, he owned to Panama and all these places. He claimed Panama for Spain. He claimed Colombia for Spain. He claimed all these Latin lands for Spain. I mean, these lands were already occupied by people. And we had the monarchy now running it. I guess we could behead the royals. No, I don't want to behead them. I just don't want to pay to support them. I want to put them out there to get a job. That's what I want them to do. I want the monarchy to go out there and work like everybody else. Daniel Ado, to dismiss the cultural and societal benefits of the Queen to the Britons, especially during a time of war, is arrogant and myopic. You should be ashamed, but I know you are incapable. I am ashamed of certain things, but I'm not ashamed at all of calling out the Queen and the people who were her subjects, who killed all those folks in India under the what is it called? Indian. Come on, help me. One of my other smart people in here. The corporation, the Indian corporation, or not India, the East Indies, the East Indies British Society. Okay, so no, I don't have any concern about that. Read Carl Cox's chat. Carl Cox, did he put it in here? Let's see. Carl Cox, I'll look for it because, you know, I like to be informed. Let's see if I can find a Carl Cox chat. Okay, I'm looking for Carl Cox. Okay, I didn't see Carl Cox chat in here. Read Carl Cox chat. Okay, Carl, I'm looking for your stuff. You know what, Carl? If you put a lot of words in, from what Rudnan tells me, if you put a lot of words in YouTube, it's not going to make it out. So apparently they have a limit of 200 characters. So it won't make it out. Let me see if I can go over to another screen and see if it was just not placed in the queue. Bear with me 1 second because I want to get you guys input. It's important. But I don't see it in the queue on the other computer. I'm looking for Carl Cox in the other computer. Let's see if I find something that just didn't come over, Carl. I'll see if I can do that because your messaging is important, Carl. Let's see, Carl. Carl Cox. Okay, yeah, that looked like it. Let me show that. It looks like it didn't make it over, so I just went ahead. East India Company. Thank you, E2247. That's what it was called, East India Company. Okay, Carl, it looks like I just found a message from you. And I'm going to see if I see another one. Another one. Okay. All right, folks, if you are on YouTube, it seems like our transporter, the thing that moves all the messages into one place that I can see it, it seems like it doesn't move all of YouTube. So if you don't see me answer your question or something, reread it. I think I just put Carl Cox's in there, but I don't see it now that I placed it in there. Carl Cox, I got to find it. Because I know you usually have something good, Carl. All right, let's see if we find it. All right, it still didn't make it over. But Carl, why don't you go ahead and put it in Facebook so that I can see it? Just copy it out of YouTube. If you can't get it there, what I'll do is I'll try to copy it into another screen because I want to read it. Para ver. I see Carl, there's Carl. All right, let me go ahead and see if I can copy that to something and see if I can read that somewhere. All right, let's see if I can read that. All right, Carl Cox says, the Royals have never done anything. Okay, I was able to cut and paste it. You said the following. The Royals have never done anything during any war. They are awarded medals and decorations for nothing. They are a parasite on the British people. Carl Cox, you concur. You concur. Thank you. Lee Grant says, Egberto, do you think about the list of things you'd like to nationalize? Energy, okay, yes. Would you like to speak about what I want to nationalize? I told you yesterday, I want to nationalize everything that humanity, people are dependent on, and that we all pay for in taxes. So let's start. I want everybody to have Medicare, health care for all. I'm going to call it health care for all. I want everybody to be able, if they get sick, they break a leg or whatever, to be able to go into a hospital and not have to show anything, just be fixed with a basal level of care. I'm not saying we're going to give them facials and we're going to give them plastic surgery or anything like that. What we want to do is heal that person. It's above my pay grade to figure out what the baseline is about, but we can get there. Other countries have. So that is numero uno. Numero dos, I want oil was not placed into the ground by the people who decided to steal the land and then sell it in parcels to different people. They didn't put the oil there. The oil, now that we have an America, a country, we should not give unfair advantage to those who luckily happen to have oil, right? So therefore, the nationalization of the energy sector is imperative. Now, you may ask about, what about solar and air and all that kind of stuff? Look, when it comes to wind energy, it is free. It's free-flowing over the United States. Okay, I'm done. This conversation is between Lee, Daniel, and Eric. I posted 7 times on YouTube and Facebook. I guess you can't see me. One more, 7 time asking, LOL, can you post this? Thank you for coming to, I did see your comment. Let's go ahead and put it there. All right. There you go. Okay, Bridge. There it is on the screen. Tell me you're happy now. Look, folks, I cannot control what these different utilities do to put things one place to another, etc., etc., etc. So now we have it. Bridge MCP put, let's get honest here. Every generation has had its own ugly reaction to refugees, whether they are the Irish, the Vietnamese, the Cubans, or the Haitians. Those fears have been broadly unfounded. In fact, there was only one time in American history when the fear of refugees wiping everyone out did actually come true, and we all be sitting around a table celebrating it on Thursday. Oh my God, Bridge, why did you do that, Bridge? And you did that the day before Thanksgiving? Bridge, you need to apologize to every single supporter of Thanksgiving right now. Actually, Bridge, you know something? Sadly, that is a true statement. I hope all of you saw what Bridge put on the screen there. That is actually very true, what she said. And you know what? Nonetheless, we do very, very little about it. League says you could nationalize housing and food production. Let's stop there because I don't want to nationalize housing and food production as you're stating it. Nationalization of food production is tantamount to, what I prefer to do is give people a stipend, a minimum stipend for food based on affordability. All right, and why do I do that? Because there are certain things that are just out of scope. You know, we can't, I think the Soviet Union proved that you can't manage growing the corn, soybean, and all that kind of, hell, we have a system that when our government tried to manage it, we screwed up soybeans and milk and cheese and peanut butter, and that's why we have shelters for all those different foods when we tell farmers not to grow X, Y, and Z, because we're trying to maintain a false price. So there, I think you and I would agree. I would want food production to be nationalized, but I would want the access to food to be provided by, for those who don't have access to food, for us to not let anybody starve. And as far as housing is concerned, again, if you want a nice house or whatever, you pay for it, but we don't want to leave anybody on the streets, right? So we want to have, for those people who decide that they want to be, I think housing is a right, yes it is. But those people who don't want to work or anything like that, then we have a little shelter for them so that they're not in the elements. It's called just being human, that's all. Just being human, that's all. Are there going to be bombs taking advantage of the system? Yes. We built that into the system. We built the system into bombs. But one of the things that we also teach in school is civics, how to be a good citizen. I got that in Panama. We learned how to be a good citizen in Panama. And the funny thing is, we learned civica in Spanish and civics in English. We got two courses in it. When we went to the American schools, we got civics. When we went to the Panamanian schools, we got civica. And since I went to both, we got them both. Capiche? Oh, boy. Let's see. You realize that I haven't touched my show today, folks. And that's because of you. You keep putting these messages in here, and I told you guys you run this thing. All right, let's see. Egberto, who put the oxygen here to us to breathe or to the sun to use, and it's not free. All of the solar panels and blades come from Germany and China. So guess we should make them rich, right? First of all, that's not true. Secondly, the reason why most of these things are made overseas is because of our plutocracy who refuse to want to pay American wages to build these products. If they would pay American wages, these products would be built here, self-contained. So, Eric, again, stop looking at it superficially. Look deep down. One level of three levels of indirection. Lee Grant says, you could nationalize housing and food production. I don't want to nationalize those two, my brother. All right, let's see. Bree says, as far as the Queen, she has zero power, just collects people's taxes, and Britain invaded. Being from North Ireland and lived under their rules for years, I dislike that government and have no love for the Queen. You know about the IRA. Hey, Bree, that's right. You're from Ireland. You know about the IRA and all of that, and Sheng Sen and all. Wow, interesting. Now I see why we are in great symbiotic relationships, my dear. Eric Hayes says, ask all those homeless in Pelosi's district What are they doing for them? It's not a district thing. It's an American thing. Anyhow, folks, I haven't yet told you, if you're on YouTube, please consider clicking that join button and becoming a part of our posse. Just go ahead and click that join button. And if you don't see that join button, you can always go to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. That is politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. And as we speak, I am trying to pull that up. politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. politicsdoneright.com/ oh, where are you? I must be on the wrong screen. There we go. All right. politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. Oh, that's the wrong field though. Let's see. When you have one keyboard controlling everything, sometimes you get in trouble, and I was about to get in big trouble. All right, there we go. Go to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. That is where you can become a part of our PDR posse. Alternative, you can support us on Patreon as well. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon, politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. And of course, what we do love, even though we don't like the owner, but we love PayPal because they only charge us 3% as opposed to 30% for Patreon and YouTube. So politicsdoneright.com/PayPal, politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. Get our hoodies and all of the good stuff at our store, politicsdoneright.com/store, politicsdoneright.com/store. And get our books, politicsdoneright.com/books, politicsdoneright.com/books. If you want to find out all the different ways you can support the program, go to politicsdoneright.com/support. Anyhow, continuing answering all your questions. Well, Maywood says, well, Egberto, a lot of the reasons things are produced overseas, like China, is the supply chain. They have better, and it got chopped off, Maywood. I don't know what else. They have better what? Let me know what you're saying. Daniel Edo says, replying to Paul Fleming, apparently you don't know me. You should. Then you wouldn't sound, no, don't call names. Don't call people names. I don't think I've ever called anybody a name here. I may say things about ignorant, which isn't calling a name, it's calling a procedure. They have better access to parts and material. I got you. You finished it up. They have better access to parts and materials. Again, they have better access to parts and materials because the parts and materials are made elsewhere. Why? Because we no longer produce as we did before. By the way, we still produce a lot. I don't want to take that away from America. We still produce a lot. We just don't produce commensurate with what we used to in the past. That's all. We don't produce commensurate with what we did in the past. It looks like I'm going to have to retitle this program today, because I'm not getting to either the Daily Coast story about CNN-NYTimes, and we're almost out of time, and I haven't gotten to but I am going to play one particular piece for you, especially since we're talking about Aubrey. Reporters, I think a lot of times we stay in the state that we're in because we don't tell the truth. And I think if we started telling the truth about how things happen, right? People would get the opportunity to change. So I want to play this little piece by a reporter, mainstream reporter. And the reason I'm playing it is I was happy to hear a mainstream reporter, and a black one at that, say this. So here we go, and then lo tomamos en el otro lado.
Byron, in this trial, all involved in the case were white. Rittenhouse, the men who died, but this case intensified the debate over racial justice and the legal system itself.
Martha, it's absolutely true. And for many people, it's not a debate. It's a cold, hard reality that in America, there's one justice system if you're white and wealthy. There's another if you're a poor and a person of color. Study after study shows that black men are arrested more often, convicted more often, and sentenced to longer sentences than white men accused of the same crime. And the same holds true in discipline in schools, that disparity. And Martha, here's a study I think that speaks to this case and the concerns about this case. According to the FBI, a fatal shooting where the shooter is white and the victim is black, 3 times more likely that's ruled to be justifiable if both parties were white. And so I think for most reasonable people, and most surveys would bear this out, that few people, reasonable people, would believe that if a 17-year-old black boy with an AR-15 showed up in Kenosha, Wisconsin at night, killed 2 people and injured a third, that that black boy would have been treated the same way by police or by the legal justice system.
Anybody want to make a guess? Anybody? Daniela Doe, would you like to make a guess? Would you like to give a possibility? Okay. Carl Cox says corporate America doesn't want to pay a living wage with generous benefits. They hate unions who want to help the little guy. Exactly. Lee Grant, it's hard to see the truth through a thick ideological lens. Yes, very true, Lee Grant. Very true. To which I ask you, Lee Grant, what is your ideological lens, if not the indoctrination you have received in school from the inception on capitalism and how it works, and the gradation of classes in this country and how it works? All of that was implanted in our heads from the time we were able to be cognizant of what we see on TV, from the time we went to elementary school, from the time we went to high school, college, even business school. Business schools, you would think we have this business school at the University of Texas, Macron School of Business, okay? And you can go to the Harvard School of Business. And hey, I'm not a Harvard guy, I'm not a UT Business School guy, but there's one thing that I do know, is that what you learned about economic systems at those schools, with all the theories that you learn, it's a lie. And how do we know it's a lie? Because the economic system of today has proven everything that these people have learned and have learned to not be true and accurate. There are incidentals that kind of look true, but it's not. And the thing about it is, those who believe in common sense, most of our audience, would say certain things about the economy, and they are making a hell of a lot more sense than those people that went through 4 years of business school at Macomb or business school at Harvard. And you know why? The business schools at Macomb and Harvard are not there to explain an economic system. They are there to indoctrinate about what they want the economic system to do and be. There ain't no damn market. You hear about this mythical market. There ain't no market. And when we realize that deep in our hearts, our brains, and realize that it's all contrived and cooked, and we can go over that in details, there is no market. Things like supply and demand exist, yes, right? If there's a short supply in something, somebody's going to try to pay more so that they can get it as opposed to the other. Those concepts are true. But there are major concepts within economics that you would learn, whether it be on taxation and all these other issues. Laffer curve, which is really a laugh, and all these things that are simply lies. But that's how you were indoctrinated in business school. And it's not there to teach you. It is there to indoctrinate you. And there's a big, big difference. Tom C. says, Cal R. may still be found guilty of negligence. Civil suits' burden of proof is preponderance of evidence, which is much lower than beyond reasonable doubt. Agreed. And I think they should take him to, I think they're going to, I hope they do that. You know, it would be nice for them to go ahead and do a civil case. Let's see what else we have. Breach says, politics and writing. Berto, can you post a link for Ashley's writing? You are, I love you, girl. You always keeping my baby in your thoughts, and I'm going to get her link to her thing as we speak right now, because she has a couple news stories out there, and I melted when I read them, and I'm her daddy now, okay? So it makes a very good read. So I'm looking for her stuff right now so that I can go ahead and give it to you, put the link of her writings there. Give her what do we call it? A shameless plug. Give my baby a shameless plug. That's what we call it. So I'm about to give that shameless plug right this minute. It's her Vela story, and here it is, my friends. So check out my daughter's Vela on, check it out. She's been doing a lot of writing, really helps with her recovery from her stroke. Lee Grant says, Egberto, have you read a lot of Karl Marx? A lot of people ask me that, and the answer is no. And there's a reason why not. I said one of these days I'm going to read both Marx and what's the father of capitalism again? Although his book is bigger than the Karl Marx book. Help me, the father of capitalism is who? The father of capitalism is who? Anyway, I was going to read both books at the same time. But what I wanted to do is do some common sense thinking based on reality before I kind of got into some of that Lee Grant. But I mean, good question, good question. Carl Cox says, President Truman once stated that you could line up all economists around the world from end to end and all would have a different, a point in a different... I've heard that one before. I've heard. Adam Smith, thank you, Tom C. Adam Smith. I'm going to read one of the Adam Smith preeminent book on capitalism, and of course Karl Marx. I don't remember what the name of his book is. In fact, I think I have one of them in my thing here. Adam Smith, thank you, E224. I got the smartest damn people in the world. All of you giving my Adam Smith, Egberto, Adam Smith. How could you forget it's Adam Smith? Well, damn it, I forgot. But look, guys, I got to get out of here. It's it's 5 o'clock Eastern time, 4 o'clock. Most theorists taught in economics is a joke. Laffer curve. Just look up. I ask everybody, look up the Laffer curve. Laffer. L-A-F-E-R, I think it is called. L-A-F-F-E-R curve. Look it up. He drew it on a piece of napkin when the Republican needed a way to say why they need to cut taxes. They wanted to show that cutting taxes would bring in more revenue. Wow. Ingenious, right? That's what they wanted to prove. So they created this thing called the Laffer curve. Folks, happy Thanksgiving, but I call it the day that, well, I'm not going to get political right now, but for those of you who celebrate, I'll be respectful. For those of you who celebrate Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. I know you're not doing it with the hate that it was originally intended as the, but so good for you. For Native Days, I support that as well. Anyhow, folks, please remember to support us. Go to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal to support us. politicsdoneright.com/PayPal or politicsdoneright.com/YouTube to become a part of the YouTube posse. And if you want to find all the ways to support us, politicsdoneright.com/support. politicsdoneright.com/support. I got to get out of here. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, Sarah Bage. And everybody else that I forgot to tell, Carl Cox, all of you guys. Look, I love you all, my conservatives, my progressives, my liberals, my anarchists. I got a couple of anarchists in here too. And all you guys have a great turkey day or whatever it is that you're going to eat. I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.